Hello and welcome to Deconstructed, where we take a list that we've already done and break it down, deconstructed if you will, entry by entry to see why things placed where they did. Today we are doing top 10 bad games that had so much potential. We're going negative today. It's going to be fun. Let's check out that ranking though. All right, lots to talk about with that ranking. Let's meet the panel. We got Andrew.
Hey.
And Ricky.
What's up?
I think you guys have been on the show the most.
Yes.
Aside from me, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah. Okay, before we get into it, I gotta say that if you liked any of these games, you. You have you. I'm just kidding. You know, one of the things when we do a negative list like this, it's a lot of it is like trying to understand the nuance in the criticism. Some of these are really bad, but you know, it doesn't necessarily make you bad if you liked them. And you know, we have some comments that sort of err on that side, so we'll get to that when we can. But let's start with number 10. Duke Nukem Forever. Duke Nukem Forever. So this is the original development hell game. Like I remember reading magazines that are defunct now about like how this game was gonna kill Quake 2 and then they like migrated to the Unreal Engine and then like all this stuff. It's just my opinion about this one, and I think why it's only at number 10 is that it had potential back in like 2001 maybe, or maybe closer to 1999. That's when it had potential to be really good. So I wouldn't say like by the time it actually rolled out in like 2010 was it? I'm sure we'll find out. It's on there. It says
somewhere
the year,
there.
Right? It says the year up there.
No.
Anyway, no, it's up here.
No, it's gonna be the title.
It's gonna
be the title coming out.
All right, whatever. It wouldn't like. I don't think it had that much potential to be good in 2010. So I don't think it would go any higher.
Yeah.
Thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're right. It's like potential. And I guess it had potential to be a good game back then. But what could it have possibly been now besides disappointment?
I don't know. Well, Johnny Cat says, I liked Duke Nukem Forever. I thought it was fun and really funny.
Funny?
Okay, so here's the thing. I thought Duke Nukem 3D was funny when I was 10, 12, 13. Like I was in elementary school when I played that game. But it was funny because it was funny to have a video game telling jokes. You were like, oh my God, this game just told a joke and I understood it. And that's what was funny. It was crazy to have a first-person shooter with like attitude. So
It's not clever. It's just lines.
It's just lines. It's literally lines ripped straight out of Evil Dead for the most part.
Yeah.
And then some girls. Yeah, I don't think we need to dwell on this one. I think we can keep going.
Yeah.
Boom.
Next.
Boom. Okay, so I've got some comments for Mighty Number 9, which is our Mighty Number 9th entry.
Excellent.
And okay, so I actually had a comment from Discord Brayburn for the Duke Nukem Forever comment, but I think it's relevant here. And it goes, people were just butthurt their nostalgia trip wasn't more nostalgic. And I think that kind of applies to Mighty Number 9. Am I crazy? Because people were nostalgic for Mega Man.
For Mega Man, but the thing is, Mega Man games have just have been coming out. They never stopped making Mega Man games.
They have. They haven't really made one recently. They made like Mega Man 10 or 9.
Yeah, but they get re-released and everything. Like you always have the ability to play Mega Man game. Where Duke Nukem Forever, there was such a big span between games.
But like this one, I think it definitely had more potential to be a hit. Like especially when you look at Shovel Knight, which was clearly like they were looking at Shovel Knight and they're like, this is what we're aiming for. We're gonna try to be as successful as this. And you know they had the original creator working on it.
It wasn't that it didn't have a nostalgia trip. It just wasn't fun.
It wasn't. The mechanics weren't well implemented either.
No, fun to play.
And like it was, I guess, passable, but it was just kind of a resounding meh. Because a lot of people are defending it in the comments. Mike Reviews says, how many times do I have to say it? All caps. Mighty Number 9 was not bad. Several exclamation points.
A lot of times.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of caps. But
it's not the worst game.
It's not the worst game
at
ever.
all.
But and you know what? We did say it's bad by putting it on the bad list.
Yes.
So
Well, it is bad. It's just
It's not a game you should. It's not a game you should
Bad,
be like.
but not the worst game.
I'm going to pick this game up and start playing it. It's like there's a million other games that are much better, and it's like, it's supposed to be the spiritual successor to Mega Man, but a lot of the things that people loved about Mega Man, this game completely got wrong. Like it's easy.
It wasn't
to
the nostalgia trip you thought it would be.
No, it's not even that. It's just the mechanics are terrible. Like the power-ups that you get are completely useless.
Well, it's
like
just
most
not
of
fun.
them.
It's just
Yeah.
not fun to play.
The levels are too easy. Like you can breeze through them, and like they made the character like super powered but like I don't know, it's
I
not
think
challenging.
not fun is a good way.
Yeah, it's just not fun.
But if, again, Mike and your reviews, if you had fun, we're not knocking you. That's okay. Don't get so bent out of shape. You're allowed to like things that nobody else likes.
For sure.
Pineapple on pizza, that's fine, man. Let's go. Okay, guys, The Order 1886. Why do you think this had potential but ended up as bad?
Because
Huge budget.
yeah,
Interesting setting, something
like
that
the
gamers
setting.
aren't used to playing. You're fighting like werewolves, or you're supposed to be fighting werewolves and
Supposed to
monsters.
be.
A lot of the promo was showing people that, and just we were expecting a fun, good game.
I mean, the problem is the writing is on the wall for launch titles. If a game is coming out pretty much at launch, unless it's for a Nintendo console, you take it with a grain of salt.
it's a tech demo. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great, and
It's the PlayStation's version of Rise, Son of Rome. Is that it?
Yeah, Rise.
Rise.
Yeah, Rise.
Yeah.
But it's such a shame because the environments are beautiful and the cutscenes are great. The writing's actually pretty good too. But it's just a movie at the end of the day. Like there's almost no.
It's funny you
real
should say that
meaningful gameplay.
because our comment from Rio Kimichika is The Order 1886 looked nice, but it had too many cutscenes and too little gameplay.
Absolutely.
Rio,
right.
we should have had you on the panel, man. You would have surmised it so quickly.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's move on. I
do
don't
it.
like this game. All right, this one actually hit home for me because at the time Diablo 3 had not come out yet. I was desperate, and I had an Xbox 360, so I played the demo for this, and I liked it. I wanted a new loot-based RPG, so Too Human was on my radar, and when it bombed, I was bummed.
Like, it's the guys who made Eternal Darkness, so we thought it was going to be good. And you were saying how like these like the title list is these games are bad and disappointing, and this game is definitely bad.
Yeah. There's like a 60-second animation for every time your character respawns.
The Valkyrie.
I was some guy on Twitter was playing it that I follow was playing it on Twitch, and one of the developers chimed in on his Twitch stream. And apparently the reason there's a 60-second animation that you have to watch every time is that the game is so poorly programmed that it takes 60 seconds for the game to figure out how to spawn you again. It takes
Yeah.
To respawn.
I'm not surprised
in
by
order
that.
to respawn. So the animation is just covering up this the horrible amount of back-end stuff that's going into it. I got an interesting comment here that I think really surmises it. When you spoke about Too Human, you forgot to mention the fact that Epic Games brought it to court for its use of the Unreal Engine and won. Now, not only is the game pulled from store shelves, but they destroyed every last copy.
Well,
so
that's a
I
shame.
think the potential was not met, let's say.
You know, it sucks because I think the premise is really cool. You guys like the general story of like Norse mythology,
Yeah.
but thrown
Sci-fi.
into like sci-fi. I think that's a cool thing, and I like looking at the God of War game. I'm like, what if they took this game and that concept and like, put it on the PS4 and made it like a God of War style game that might actually work because the combat here is not the worst combat. Like the close-up combat,
Right.
it's actually pretty fun. So I think they missed the mark with a lot of other things. Like
There was I always confuse this one where there's a lot of stuff on this list where like the development was hell, et cetera, et cetera.
A lot of
So
them
I
were,
forget.
yeah.
But like there was like delays and they planned a whole trilogy around this and then the trilogy was canceled. Oh man, we got to move on because this is I think you could do a whole podcast just talking about what happened to poor Too Human.
yeah.
Okay, well this is a bit of deja vu because all right, to set the stage, I wanted a replacement for Diablo.
Dan likes Diablo.
I like Diablo games.
Apparently.
And I love Diablo 2, and you know what? Diablo 3, fight me. I think it's great. So Hellgate, and this looks just badass.
Yeah.
I'm kind of past the stage in my life where everything has to look freaking hardcore, but this looked freaking hardcore. And for 19-year-old Dan, this was my freaking jam. So when this bombed, I was also pretty upset.
Well, because it was supposed to be kind of an MMO too. Like it was
Yeah,
supposed to be kind
like
of
a
in
hybrid.
between like Diablo's multiplayer and an MMO.
An
and they
FPS,
were
could
gonna
be like
like
an FPS MMO.
keep building on it, making the game better and better.
And like, you know what? It was made by people who had worked on Diablo. It was supposed to be like their triumphant return to form. So I think this one for me was the one, at least so far, I can't remember where we are on this list. That was like one of the biggest personal disappointments because like I was just like, oh man, it's one of those things where you want to like the game for a number of reasons. Not only is it your jam, but you like the stuff that people had made before. A lot of potential. And you know what? Ahead of its time, like you said, it's sort of like a
Using
first person,
yeah.
which wasn't done for another couple of years.
Yeah, and not in the MMO space for sure. I mean,
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was a while before we got Borderlands and then Destiny and all that stuff. So, shame. I mean, okay. That's it.
That's good.
That's good. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Let's move it. Yeah, let's go.
Good. Yeah. Okay, so I have a perfect comment to lead us into this. Chirok says, Steel Battalion was not a failure. The Kinect was a failure.
And he's right.
Unfortunately for Steel Battalion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny. So there's a number of ways we could frame this discussion. You could say, like, if the Kinect was implemented properly, then this game could have lived up to its potential as a cool game because of how cool this new system was. Or you could go the other way and say, like, because they implemented the Kinect, it ruined the potential of a kind of a cool idea?
From Software built this around the Kinect. So when one thing doesn't work, it just...
Well, you can't play the game.
You can't play the game.
Even if there's a good game in there, it can't be played.
I'm sorry, did you guys say From Software?
Yes.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
How did they go from Dark Souls?
No, they went from this to Dark Souls.
Oh, so then that's amazing.
Right.
For them.
Triumphant Return.
Triumphant Return.
Although, you know what, don't quote us on that because I think we're gonna have to get the years lined up. It's possible those were being made in conjunction. So yes. You know what? I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I hate the idea of doing stuff but not actually touching anything.
But you also have a controller.
You have a controller,
so you're doing both of those things. So it's just,
I mean, I think we probably have some B-roll of them like demoing how it's supposed to work, but it just didn't work.
No.
So like the potential of the Kinect wasn't realized, the potential of the franchise wasn't realized. It was just
no, you can't cut your hands off and be
fire.
like, go play the game.
Yeah.
Tell me if this is a good game, but you have no hands to play it with.
That's a terrible game, right?
That's
right
a terrible
off the bat.
analogy.
Yeah. Yes, also a terrible analogy.
And that's
Moving
the
on.
last point. Daikatana or Daikatana. Who knows? Because no one ever talks about it anymore.
It's done. It's in the past.
I mean, let's give everyone. Does everyone know that? You guys know the John Romero's going to make you his biatch thing?
Yeah, the
terrible
marketing
campaign.
Little history lesson. There were these ads everywhere that said John Romero is going to make you his bitch, with no other context other than that. And they're like, yeah, that makes me want to buy a game.
Yep.
Especially because it was like just black writing on a red background, so it told you nothing. John Romero, of course, worked on the original Doom and then Quake. So he was like
legend.
one of the
legend.
parents of what we consider to be first-person shooters now.
And one of the first sort of gaming, like people who make games, the gamers knew who he was.
Yeah, one of the first gaming celebrities with his awesome, awesome hair. He actually kind of looks like him.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I mean, this was considered potential, and you know, Mighty Number 9 is the same thing with Hellgate London, where the potential lies in the creator. You know they've created good stuff. So the disappointment is harder on you just because you're like, dude, I've seen you make good things before.
Yeah.
Please.
But it's like he was sort of trapped in the early 90s or mid 90s of game development because this game came out in 2000 because of all the delays. By now, Half-Life 1 was out, so it had lots of interactivity. It came out the same summer as the original Deus Ex. And so he was still trying to make like a Quake 1,
A
Quake
game that was
2
impressive
era.
Compared to Quake.
Exactly.
But they
Like,
didn't even use the
but
new
the
software. They didn't even use the new like engine. I mean, like like the development problems with this. It was supposed to be pushed out during a Christmas period. You wanted to have it done in 7 months. It's impossible. It was impossible to have it done in 7 months. So they kept pushing it. But like by that time, the advancements that were made with other games just weren't implemented here. So what you got was like a mess of an idea that was like maybe cool, but like even
a good
the
game
AI,
in there. But there was a good, you
somewhere.
could feel a good game in there trying to escape.
Yeah, I was like, get me out.
Again, it's
I
one of
wanna
those
be
things where
fun.
like it probably, if it had been actually fun and landed a bit earlier, it probably would have been better.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's much better with co-op though, because the AI in this game who follow you around, and if they die, you have to like restart the level. They are terrible, and they are great at like running into things and killing themselves.
Right.
So if you got a buddy, you know, you might have a little bit more fun with this. Not that you would be playing it anyways.
See,
Honestly.
like co-op fixes a lot of problems, and it makes things that aren't very much fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Like bouncing a ball against a wall, not that great. But as soon as you're playing catch with someone, all of a sudden,
best day of
mundane
your life.
activity.
Yeah.
Best day of your life. That's a back of the box quote for Ricky playing catch.
Go get him.
God,
Get
did you
out.
get that on camera? Good. Next. Lair. I personally contributed to some of the hype around this game.
Shame.
I was working at EB Games, GameStop in the United States, when this when this was coming out, and I was like, oh, it's going to use the 6-axis controller. It's going to be the game, you can fly the dragon with your controller. I mean,
Why you couldn't just use your
why you
thumbs?
couldn't? I mean,
Because
motion controls, man.
That's
They
it.
were
Yeah.
a
It's the
thing.
future.
They
Well,
were a
because this
thing.
was like the Wii was like really big. Wii
The Wii was
Sports
blowing up.
huge. Because this is Factor 5. This is the guys who made the Rogue Squadron games, and those games are, I mean, the first two are amazing games.
Right.
And this is supposed to be Rogue Squadron with dragons.
Rogue Squadron with dragons.
but it
But
was
like
not.
dragons can't shoot lasers. Well, like maybe not in this world, but dragons can shoot lasers if you want them to.
If you
They're
believe
not
you
real.
can.
But again, like Steel Battalion, it's hard to even tell if the game is good because you can't play it. Because they've cut your hands off and they're asking you to tell you if the game is good or not. And you can't know if there's.
They physically got your hands
Here's
off.
another example of like how the Order was like this gorgeous game, and Layer was the same way. Like it looked great, and anybody who saw this game was like, "This looks effing awesome!" Like I'm flying around on a dragon, I'm doing these large-scale battles, like I'm badass. And then you get it, and you're going through these like narrow canyons, and you have the 6-axis, and you're crashing and dying because obviously nobody is going to be able to like maneuver these tight spaces by like just what I'm saying?
I hate like
so
even
shit.
like the only times I've been forced to play Mario Kart with
Yeah.
like a motion control, I'm always like,
This is not like real driving.
I hate that, man.
Yeah.
Also, like, we don't have enough cool dragon games. At least not enough games where like you can slay the dragons now.
you
There's,
can
like,
fly them
you got
like
your Monster
dragon
Hunters,
Monster
your Elder
Hunter.
Scrolls, but like
Scalebound was canceled.
Scalebound was canceled.
And that was a
and-
cool dragon game.
And
Terrible.
you can technically fly dragons in Skyrim,
Skyrim.
but that's
That is not.
not a lot of people talking about that feature.
No.
No. Let's go. Here's the thing.
No one defending this one.
Well, no one's defending how good. No, I don't have any comments defending Sonic 06. We rip on Sonic 06 a fair amount.
Yeah.
At MojoPlays and Watch Mojo. Here's the thing. I wouldn't necessarily include this on the list because I think Sonic had kind of squandered its goodwill years before. Okay. So I'll say this. It had the potential to reestablish Sonic
Yes, yeah,
as
for
a
sure.
as a new force in the new millennium.
To do for Sonic what
New
Super Mario
consoles.
64 did for
Yes.
3D just a couple of years too late.
Exactly.
But still.
Still,
Yes, and it did not do that.
it was glitchy.
It was glitchy. It was weird.
It was super weird.
The princess is like did not even make the first step into the uncanny valley.
I don't. That's a weird fantasy.
But like, if you put all the plot elements aside, it's a shame that it was broke. It was so broke. The reason I wouldn't necessarily put it on the list, like I said, it's just I'm kind of a Sonic hater.
why?
I just don't think it's a. I think Sonic, and I could write a whole essay on this. The core concept behind the character is antithetical to the genre he's in. Platformers require speed and precision, not speed and precision. Excuse me, precision.
Precision.
Careful precision. And because his whole thing necessitates speed, those two things are in opposition. Yes, you can move through platformers very quickly, and it's very impressive, and that's awesome. Like watching someone rip a Mario level or a Sonic level, always super impressive. But I just think that the emphasis on speed kind of undercuts the emphasis on how difficult platformers are, how precise you have to be with your jumps, and how you have to know what's coming up.
Yes.
Like you're like, and then you hit some spikes.
Yeah.
Like that always drove
Yeah,
me
that you
nuts
couldn't avoid.
as a kid.
And it's even weirder in the 3D world because you have these levels that they're like explorable levels, but there's only really one way to go to finish that level.
And
And
yeah,
so
like the
it's just like
lines.
it's just like a big lie. It's like, okay, you're giving me this gorgeous 3D environment, but like I can't do anything with it. Like it's a Sonic game. Like I gotta plow through like the middle and like make sure that I don't veer off too far and like finish the level. And
Lose your rings, get the chaos. I
I don't know. I'm
It's-
not
it's
willing
the
to.
same-
I think it deserves to be on this list because Sonic is still, even if you don't like Sonic personally, and understand, like I was a I had a Super Nintendo
Yeah.
and an original Nintendo,
And a
but
Sega.
man, I don't know. Sonic. There's a reason that Sonic is still stuck around for this long, and that they're still making Sonic games, and that people still like him. So even if we don't like Sonic, I think the potential for Sonic 06 to have like brought Sonic into a new generation and failed at that is the reason it's so high on the list.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
heartbreaking for a lot of big fans. They're like, man, this was gonna be the Sonic 3D game that's like the next gen Sonic, and it just broke that promise.
All right. I concede defeat. It stays on the list. Not that we were going to upend it anyway, but it stays on the list. Aliens, Colonial Marines. I'm going to go way big on this one. I'm going to go super wide on my concept to why this is so freaking horrible. almost every sci-fi video game that has ever come out has borrowed from Aliens in some way. Like everything that the Marines say in StarCraft, almost every scene from the original Halo.
Even
like,
going back as far as Contra.
Yeah. Oh, Contra, like the box art ripped straight off from Aliens, and tons of action movies also, which also later became inspiration for other video games, have taken inspiration from Aliens. Aliens is like the seminal franchise, the seminal movie that gave birth to all of this stuff, inspired all this sci-fi. So to have the game that's actually based on that be awful is just sacrilege.
Yeah, it's ironic because the game, it's like it's taking you through a tour of all of the places that you visit in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like showing you like, look at this great place, but it's goofy as hell because you're trying to build tension and suspense, and you have like xenomorphs like popping out of vents and just like wiggling and like then going back in. You're like, what the hell's going on here? Like, this isn't scary. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Man, there were some great GIFs, and if you guys know any, you should post some in the comments. But like the great GIFs of like some guy like going around in a dark area, and then like the xenomorph kind of like walks by like this,
Or just completely ignores the player. And you have like you have like the AI companions. We were talking about this before.
Terrible.
Also, like I think one thing people were now I admit I just avoided this game. I didn't play it. But one of the things that was apparently horrendously annoying was that like the sound effects for the pulse rifle just repeated ad nauseum because like you're always firing the same pulse rifle, right? And like that's fine in the movies, because it comes up every so often over the span of 2 hours. But when you're playing a 6 to 8 hour single player campaign, you're hearing that gun go off a little too much.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
man.
they always keep giving it back to you because it's not like a regular shooter where you're just getting newer and better guns and always like going between them. They still want to make it feel like an Aliens
Like an
game,
Aliens
so it's
game.
that and the smart gun, the shotgun. And you're fighting humans for a huge section of that game too.
The other like the
you're fighting Wayland
mercenaries.
Yutani mercenaries.
It's like
Man,
I don't want to
this
fight
game is
other
bad.
people. I want to fight aliens.
This is why this game is number
That's
one.
actually a major gripe I have with almost any other game where there are supernatural things.
The Order did that,
And then
same shit.
the Order is the same thing. It's actually one of the problems I have with a certain Naughty Dog franchise that I cannot criticize on camera. You're just always fighting dudes. And it's just like, I thought crazy stuff was going down in this world, man. Give me the crazy stuff.
Yeah, don't just want to fight dudes.
People are the real monsters.
While we've been talking, I've just been thinking about all the stuff that like Halo ripped off. Like the Black Sergeant with the cigar.
5x5.
Like that's literally like
Sarge.
like
pretty much.
the scene where you first see the
All the
flood on
pilots.
the guys like helmet cams.
Yeah, they do
when
one
they
of
get like
those, like-
massacred by the flood. Oh man, that's a scene that's been ripped off like
The
a
Pelican
gazillion times.
pilots or just
Oh,
things
is
that
it-
the lady from Aliens and
Yeah,
the
it's just
Pelican. Yeah.
in the 5x5. Oh man. Oh, Randy Pitchford, when will you learn?
So this game sucks,
So this
and
game
it could have been
sucks,
been
yeah.
great, and it doesn't. It's
Gearbox,
not.
I still hope you're working on a very good version of Borderlands 3 because I will give you some money for that as long as it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that concludes our discussion, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Once again, if you like any of these games, you. No, not seriously. It's a common it's a common thread. No one knocks you for liking stuff that other people don't like, man. Games are supposed to be fun if you're having fun with it.
Yeah, if you found fun in Colonial Marines,
We're not judging you for that, dude. Like, please. Games are supposed to be fun. If you're achieving that objective, that's the moral of the story.
But also,
But also, you. It's just a little bit. All right. Have a nice day, everybody. Say goodbye, guys.
Thanks for watching Mojo Plays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.